My name is Sai, the lights within. Today's guest is Emily Kisvarda. She is an integrated healer, author, researcher, alchemist, teacher, lifelong student of the higher knowledge and the wisdom. In 2004, her world was shaken to its core. Within 2 weeks, she lost her husband to cancer and her brother-in-law to an overdose. 3 years later, her mother passed away. At that time, her 4 beautiful children were all under the age of 10. The very foundation of her life seemed to crumble beneath her. Out of this deep grief, a new path began to unfold. In 2010, she followed the inner calling to travel to sacred sites around the world. With each journey, she found that healing and self-discovery came alive within her. These places spoke in frequencies beyond the words, helping her to remember who she truly is. Welcome, Emily Kisvarda. Hello, Emily.
Hello, Sai. How are you?
I am well. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so very much.
And thank you for having me. I was so excited. I actually was already up yesterday morning going, "Where is she? Oh, whoops, wrong day."
I didn't even know about that until just today. So sorry. You are in the Australia, and then I'm the New York. So we have a time difference, and you must got up very early yesterday and this morning.
Yeah. I set my alarm, and the funny thing is, I'll usually get up near this time, but I set it because I was fast asleep. So luckily, I did.
Okay, good.
I got up at 6. It's not so bad.
Okay, that's great. Wow, it's really upside down we are. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And then we were talking before while we are hitting this record button. We we both came with the background. We did not talk about anything, and both came. So we will definitely get into why you have a pyramid, and then I have also Dendera and Egypt. So we'll talk about that. And I'd like to start talk about how I was led to you and your work.
Okay. Okay.
So I discovered your oracle cards. Ta-da!
Yeah.
This one, Sacred Geometry. So this deck, I found this lady, she's a psychic medium.
Hmm.
I believe her name is Patricia. And she was the one using your oracle deck. That's
She's from YouTube, I think. Yes,
Yes, she's
Patricia
from the
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just randomly was
Yeah.
going over the surfing, and this was many, many years ago.
Yes.
And at that time, when she pulled the oracle cards, some cards are not familiar at all with me. This was really the beginning, and what I was familiar with was like a solfeggio frequency, like a 528 hertz,
Yeah.
963 hertz, and this frequency card I was familiar, but then other card I was not familiar with. But there was something
Hmm.
was really pulled into your oracle card. It was so interesting. So
Yeah.
that's how I got your oracle card immediately. And I found it that your card is very different from other oracle cards that I have.
Yes.
my experience is not only your card is educational for me, but also, as it says on here too, it's such a healing cause
Mm.
inside. And all the symbols are categorized into, I believe, the 6 sections. So like a sacred card, master cards, prantonic solids, frequency cards, and so on. So it has many codes, wisdom, symbols
Mm.
in each card. For example, like numerological number, animal medicine. I'm getting the goosebumps. The crystals
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
cards are so beautiful. So I learn each single time when I use this deck. So we will get into this oracle deck a little bit later. But
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah.
first, I like to start asking some question.
Okay.
How your journey started to up to this present moment. So I was just reading your bio. So you went through many deaths in very short period of time, which
Yes.
must be so challenging, and especially having 4 children all under 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you said through that deep grief, you are called to visit. I don't know, I feel so emotional. Called to
Uh-huh.
visit sacred sites. And
Yes.
I am curious to know, but there was a couple of questions here. Who or what was calling you? And where have you been led to? And how those places impacted your
Mm-hmm.
grief journey?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Um, yes, so my journey started where I am today after the death of my husband in 2004. And at the time I had 4 children under 10. My eldest is now 31 and my youngest is 24. So it's been a long time. And as you said, my brother-in-law had died 2 weeks prior to him of an overdose. So that was very unexpected. And then my mum passed away 3 years later, which was just devastating. And really, at the time when my husband died, I was 32 at the time. And I was on this journey of life going, I needed to find something to deal with my grief. I needed to find something that was going to get me through life and life's challenges with young children as well. And so I started attending, and I was just looking for teachers really and looking for ways in which I could make the pain inside lessen. And it eventually led me, even though that was 2004, and yes, I did quite a few things in between, but it was when I came actually across a couple of Australians and here that take led soul groups to Sedona. So my very first initiation into sacred sites, because I really didn't do any here around Australia at the time, but was to Sedona, and that was one of my that really was one of the biggest activations I had that started me on that journey. And it got me to a point where I had to I remember I just kept going along this couple of weeks that we were there, and I was just listening, going, "Oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." And it wasn't until right at the end where Jeremy said, "Right, you're not leaving this section until we get to the bottom of what's going on." And what he was able to help extract from me was the anger that I held inside um, towards my husband for leaving me. I mean, it was never his fault. He had cancer. He couldn't help what happened. but the anger that came out and the rage, and I remember he gave me this stick at the time, and he just told me to bang it and help me to release all that energy and that, you know, anger. And what was really interesting was by the end I'd actually split my skin open, not enough to need stitches or anything, but it really was painful. And it was like all of this rage that came out presented itself then, you know, through me, you know, the physical aspect of you know, the wound, which of course healed. And it was the most profound moment because I didn't realize just how much I had been holding on to basically for those 6 years that he had gone. I thought I had actually come to a point where I had forgiven, and, you know, because I use the word forgiven because he left me. You know, that was my biggest challenge. You've left me with 4 young children. I've got to bring them up and do everything on my own. So it was amazing, really. And it was like I never turned back after that time. But leading up to that as well, you know, I was already studying. So without the sacred tours, my I started my passion be like as soon as he passed, it was like he opened Pandora's box. But actually, that's the wrong word, isn't it? Not Pandora's box, but he opened up this doorway for me because there was nothing, you know, nothing bad that came out of it. But yeah, so, and what it showed me was my gifts that I've always had, what it reawakened and reactivated. So before I even started, you know, the journey of going to these sacred sites, his passing was my activation, and became part of my remembrance, and my reawakening, because before that I didn't know anything, and it led me down, you know, this beautiful spiritual path, and I just had such a thirst for knowledge. And what it started showing me were crystals. So I started getting crystals and working with crystals, and, you know, started placing them on my body, having no idea what I was doing, to the point where I had to go and start my first, you know, go and do a course to understand what crystals were all about. And also Reiki, is the first healing modality I ever did. That was the end of 2004. And then as the years went on, leading up to 2010 anyway, I started dabbling with frequency medicine and creating my own elixirs. So this is what came out of it all at the end. Oh, I don't know why, but it doesn't show. It doesn't show
Okay,
on this
I can see.
background.
Yes.
But it's this, these, so I
Wow.
made these elixirs. But I started with that, and we really started with the crystals, and then from the crystals I started channeling and channeling and channeling, and more came through. And then from there I started creating the templates which make up the master cards of my card deck. And then they started working hand in hand. And then as I started traveling more and more to sacred sites, I started bottling the frequencies of these sacred sites and putting them into these elixirs that I create.
How did
So
it come to you? Like, were you like a channel? Like you just,
all channeled. Yeah. I had to go, I didn't have to do anything, but I ended up doing another course. I met another lady who um, who took me through crystal light healing, and she made elixirs as well. So I was making them, and I needed to know what I was doing was correct. And it was just so beautiful once I met someone to know that what I was doing was correct. And she, you know, just learning a little bit more and gaining more insight to the reasons to why I had done what I, you know, was doing. And ultimately, as time's gone by, with all the courses I've done and my own research and my own study, I've, created something of a really high vibrational frequency. And as I said, from Uluru to Peru, to Egypt, being able to grab to really be able to bottle these energies is really beautiful.
I'm getting covered with goosebump, by the way.
And
It
of
is, yeah.
course, the healing cards, like you were showing, the templates of them can be used as the base to create your frequency, or just to use them to, to create a beautiful water frequency. So you can just put your glass on it and leave it on there.
Wow. I remember
Yeah.
one of the card I pulled in the past several times, like using a feng shui. I think it's Weaver. It's as you enter the room, like all the way to
Oh,
corner.
the southeast
Yes,
corner. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
like a Weaver card or something like that. I was
Yeah, the dream weaver.
yes,
Mm,
yes, yes, I did that too. And then so
yeah.
it's just such a beautiful, and then I'm just going to put the glasses on. The elixir you just showed me, it's amazing that
Mm.
this book that you see, I have all these stickers here, but then
Oh, that's so amazing. I love
that
that. Thank
is
you,
list of the Bible.
Sky.
This is beautiful, but the name of this vibrational, this essence is like alchemy of thoughts and the conscious
Yeah,
awakening.
yeah.
And then this book, it's just so packed with so many wisdom. It's the animal wisdom, and it's incredible. This
Oh, thank you.
cards, like this is just not the oracle cards. This is like it's
Yeah.
like a filled with the everything in a one box.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to create a teaching tool for others. So everything you need really is in the book. And I remember years ago when I first created it, and people were like, "Oh, you're putting too much information in there. You should keep that for when you teach and da 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 da." And I don't know. I think it's nice to be able to actually have it in front of you. And, this is my perception, as well as using information of sacred geometry into the book. But and I also tell people that just because I've written something specifically for each card doesn't mean there's not another reason in which you can work with that, because we're not restricted energetically to anything, and my perception might be slightly different to yours as well. And you go, oh, I can actually see I can use it for da 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 as well. So it's just, a guide, really. And
Did
all
you have
all the Mastercards were channeled, all of them. Um, I I actually started off with the first card I did. I've just gone blank now. Which one did I start with now? Oh my goodness. I keep wanting to say Dreamweaver. It was Dreamweaver. I started with Dreamweaver and then went from Dreamweaver to the Merkaba, and then it started going on from there. I've actually got 12 master cards in all. There's only 11 within this deck though. So
oh, really
yeah,
interesting.
there is another one. Yeah, but I never used it, and I've always kept it, thinking that, because I don't believe I'll ever make another deck of cards. But
Wow.
I've always kept it thinking, the time will come and I'll use it for something, or maybe a book, or I don't know yet. But I mean, you can definitely get them. It's not a secret, but it's called
Uh,
Seed of the Soul. So yeah,
I
which is
am very
seed of
new.
eternal
Uh,
existence.
yes, I am very new to the sacred geometry. Like I'm still learning, like some
Yeah.
things, but it's not many people so know a lot of things about it. I mean, the Robert Edward Grant, and it's like the little bits of the little bits I'm learning. And did you always have a knowledge about the sacred geometry, the shape?
No.
Really?
No. So
No?
my activation again, or my awakening with sacred geometry, came in 2009. And I had gone to, back then, it was on a couple of times, but there was this weekend retreat that was up in Queensland called Utopia, and it was created by a couple of remarkable people, and they had a series of speakers, excuse me, at this event. So you could choose, like, apart from what everyone did together, you could then go and choose to go and speak to, listen to others speak. So I chose a man by the name of Jane 108. And I remember sitting in his class, and I was pretty exhausted already because it was so full on, and you're working with energy. So you know how tiring it can be at times, especially when you're learning as well. And I remember he was talking about the sunflower, like he was going through the basics of sacred geometry from, Fibonacci to just what sacred geometry is, to showing photos. And I always remember the sunflower. And about halfway through, I went, I can't do this, and I'm leaving. So I did. I got up and walked out and went to my room because I was just like, I just need to do nothing. And that was my introduction to sacred geometry. But that was what my trigger was. And it wasn't until, maybe another year or so after that I started channeling then and becoming interested in sacred geometry and realizing, because what had happened was with my cards, when I started to channel the elixirs and then I had to make templates for them, I would do like a preschool child would, you cut and paste, and I'd find what I wanted. I could see the vision, but it got to a point, the more complex my designs were becoming, I didn't know how to draw them or find the pictures of them. And that's when I found a gorgeous man who has done all of my work, and he was able to put together everything that I wanted, with my card. So I was very, very lucky there. Yeah.
So you are the one channeling and then telling this man, so this looks
Yeah.
like this, and then so he started drawing and then all that shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so he put it, so I just send him all these pictures, and then I put them in, like, I created the picture, and then he was able to take that and create the actual image for me. So he's just remarkable, yeah. And he's done all my graphics. So he's an amazing graphic artist here locally here in Melbourne, actually. And I've stuck with him from the time I found him to now. So he's just amazing. So he brought all my graphics alive for me.
Wow, it's everything meant to be. And then it's
Yeah,
obviously in your language and a spiritual language, like it's almost like this is everything awakening within inside. Like you are
yeah,
remembering, be reactivated with
yeah,
a frequency. And so
correct. Yeah.
again, then how those visiting those places and interacting with these frequencies, how this impacted your grief journey from the anger and then all of that. How did that impact it?
Um, it actually brought me through because, when my husband was really sick, I found myself on antidepressants. I had to go on antidepressants because I was really struggling
Mm.
to be able to, my background is nursing. So I was able to nurse my husband as well. Um, and he actually passed at home because of my, they allowed me to leave him at home. Well, it was his request. So, we did it all from home. And yeah, I actually I was on antidepressants, and I went on them twice for probably about 6 months each time. And it was what got me through until he passed, and probably just a tad over. And then it was like, okay, what do I have to do to, then it was the soul searching that really started. What do I have to do to find, um, find comfort and to be able to heal. And that's where the journey started. And he, like I said, he opened the most beautiful door for me. I never knew anything about spirit. I never knew anything about the esoteric. I knew nothing. I always explained myself as the diamond and gold girl, and with blinkers on. And all of that changed. And I remember even just I remember the day he died, and we were sitting outside, and we had this massive veranda in this particular house. And of course, no water or rain is going to get you, even if, it was so big it couldn't get you, even if it was torrential rain. And I sat there and I felt like I had these drops of water falling on me. And I'm like, this is the weirdest experience ever. And what I was actually experiencing was energy. And I believe it was him. And, like it was like he was making himself known. And I remember feeling really cold, and, you know, it was just an experience. And then within 3 weeks of that, I was standing in my kitchen and I felt like I was walking through cobwebs, and I'm going like this to move these cobwebs, but it wasn't cobwebs. Again, it was energy. And the other thing that started happening was someone kept tugging at my blanket when I was in bed, and it got to a point where I had to leave my light on um, to fall asleep because I was so scared. And it was the first time, not long after that, I went and saw a medium, and she was so spot on, so remarkable. Oh my God, I've never experienced, to this day, never experienced anyone like her. And it was like the Last Supper. She actually could tell me the last time we had gathered people in our home, what we were doing, where people were sitting. She was telling me about Rob, and um, she picked up on everything, like even to the fact that I had my light on, my TV on, telling me it's safe, you can turn it off. I swear she was unbelievable. I ended up doing actually a little bit of work with her like straight after that, and she helped to teach me, because that's when also I could start feeling my guides coming through, and like everything just started happening at once. So I was in my early 30s before I ever experienced or really understood anything to do with spirituality or the esoteric. And I had such a thirst for knowledge that I spent hours and hours and hours researching on everything I could find. I started finding people I could do meditation with, past life connections. Probably one of my most profound was, I remember going back as a past life as a geisha girl, and
Really?
the name that came through was Mieko. And I'm like, wow, okay. And so I remember going home, even this still gives me goosebumps, but I went home afterwards to look it up. And Mieko actually means geisha, or through the definition that I had found. So, I think the importance of also saying that is, don't ever doubt yourself. It's so important to really listen to what you get, because the messages that come through can be really profound. Um,
Oh my
but
God.
yeah, yeah, I always love that one, and I'll
Oh,
never forget it.
do you know I was
Although
born in Japan?
you are,
Yes, and
uh, yeah,
you're freaking me out actually right now. My mother's name is Miyoko, and then my actually
no,
yes, my sister's son's wife's name is Miyako. You just said
no.
I'm not joking.
Oh wow.
Not
So did you
joking.
say you're going to Japan? I know you are Japanese, but oh
I was born in Japan. Yes, that's why when you say
yeah.
Keisha, I'm like,
So have I actually said, is it right? Because back in the time, well, going back 20 years ago now, but that's what I was, the definition comes out as geisha. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong then. Am I right? Do you know?
Yes.
Anyway, it was really beautiful because the connection was just, it was like, how would I know this? I wouldn't. I've never been to Japan, even to this day. I haven't been. And I will go one day because it's on my bucket list. But yeah, there's some amazing sacred sites there too.
I'm
Mm.
getting goosebumps. Well, because geisha to me, sorry people if I'm wrong, but to me the geisha is an artist,
Yeah,
right?
geisha is beautiful.
Through the music, through the dance,
Yeah,
they express their
yes,
artistic side. It's like a poem through this
yeah,
movement.
yeah.
So, do you remember what was that you are doing as a geisha? Like, do you have any recollection of that part?
No, but it was interesting because I just remember, or what was shown to me at that time was that I felt very alone.
Mm.
Um, I think the work that I did, I was on my own, and I think what it was interesting is that there was a few past lives that I saw into, and it showed me being on my own. And I guess in this lifetime, I have spent the majority of the last 20 years on my own. Even though I'm bringing up children, it's been on my own. So that was the significance, I think, when I look at it now. But yeah, I was very talented because I've seen around the same time. Um, I was I remember I was a male surgeon, young male surgeon, but I actually, again, on my own, but he died of a heart attack. So very interesting, brokenhearted. Um, Miyako was very much on her own. And then there was one other significant um, past life that I went into, and it was like I was living on this farm, and I had all this acreage, and I remember having something like 7 children, and it was like my husband from this lifetime was my husband then as well, but he died and left me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, what's going on here? you know I keep seeing these past lives. I'm like, oh. And I'm
Wow,
still on my own now, but it's very different lifetime, thankfully.
wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible. Incredible. So,
yeah,
what do you think? I know I can't believe the time is passing so quickly. And what do
ah,
you think in your lifetime? What do you think your
yeah.
mission and what is the message for the humanity we are all in?
I feel the more I've been doing this work, I feel my mission is to awaken others, to an awareness of working with frequencies, and understanding that we can harness the energy all around us to um, assist us on our journey of healing and self-discovery. And through that, we are awakening an awareness as in consciousness, awakening that consciousness within, and that we can then utilize that in our, as I said, for our healing, in our work with our children. And I think what's also so important is that everything that we have to heal ourselves has been given to us, but it's because we have, you know spent, or because we are so mind controlled, so many are mind controlled, they can't see past what is being filtered to them in such an awful way. And this is why it's so, so important to be able to get back into nature and to go within the self and to understand that everything we need is within earth, within ourselves. The healing that we need to do is there. And if you have the opportunity to be able to travel to these sacred sites, just, like Peru or Uluru or Turkey or Egypt, um, that's just naming a few, to be able to sit in that energy because you're on these specific ley lines where these temples or monuments have been placed, you will your level of consciousness starts to alter, and you start to activate another aspect or reawaken an aspect within yourself. And that's why I find it such a joy, um, and it's just such an amazing um, journey to be able to go, to visit these sites. And I'm actually going back next. I've made a big decision. I am going to go back next May, April, May. So 30th of April to May 16th, I think it is. And it's a return to the sacred waters. And I'm going to be doing a 17-day trip around Egypt. So
You just
it's
came
the
back, right? You just
experience
came
is,
back from the Egypt, but then now you rested, you are going back again. Yeah, I read the email that you announced that you are going.
yeah, yeah. So I'm going back, and I've actually just spent, even for myself, I just spent 7.5 weeks throughout the British Isles because I had to reconnect to who I truly am. And when you start to get these inklings and you start to get these visions and these inner knowings, and if you have the opportunity that I have had to be able to travel to these sites, wow, is all I can say. I even got to connect to my dragon, um, and to understand myself on a deeper level, and to understand where my love of certain natural medicines are coming from as well, because I really, really enjoy as well working with natural medicine, not just the frequencies, but plants. And it just gives me so much joy. And yeah, and I had visions of actually seeing myself as as a druidess and I got that it was on the Isle of Man. So I actually found where I believe my vision was. And it was just beautiful, beautiful.
So beginning before I started, actually I pulled the oracle card from your deck,
Yeah,
and I actually asked for us everybody, whoever encountered, to watch this video. No
yeah,
timeline, there is no time.
yeah.
So then the card,
No.
and I'd like to hear from you the
Okay,
interpretation.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
how, so I pulled the card, it's number 10. Unlimited potential, consciously create the reality. Oh, right
yeah.
where I
It's
can.
hard to see it. That's it. Yeah. I started creating that card before I went to Peru, and it works with condor medicine, and that is the truncated icosahedron. So you've got a pentax ratio that you can see. It's the shape of a soccer ball. Um, and it's also that of carbon C60. I'm just putting this in, which is shungite. So shungite is something we should all work with. It's such a beautiful, it's mainly fullerenes, it's carbon based. But what this is telling us is that the world is our oyster, that you have the potential to do whatever your heart desires, whatever you put your mind to. And, when we start to change our thoughts, we can change our reality, and we can create anything that we choose to do. So, yeah, the world is your oyster. And like the condor
It's a timeless.
flies so high.
And it sounds like a timeless. And then the numerology card number is 3, correct? This one.
What is that? Is it a 10? Is that one 10? I
10.
can't.
Yeah. 10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah,
Yes.
so the actual
Numerology
card
number
number,
is
well, yeah, so you've got the 2 that you're working with. 10 is 1, which is all new beginnings, and 3 is expansion, because I also do the numerology as you're
yes,
talking about
yes.
on the
Yes.
wording. Yes.
Yes. So this is really that I put the intention of that we remember. How can we remember, connect to the all that we are one?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was the intention of
Yeah.
the card for everybody who's watching this video. So
Yeah, and really it's looked at, that card is consciousness, because when we also look at it, you're looking at the aspect of DNA. So it's about what we are creating. Yeah.
mm. Well, thank you so very much. I can't believe the time went so fast. So
I really enjoyed that. That was great.
yeah, me too. Thank you. So
Yeah.
where can we, I'd love to have you back here when next
I'd love to come back.
that would be great, so that we can go dive into more Egypt
Yeah, yeah.
and all the things. So where, I know you have a YouTube channel and you have the website, the Phoenix Gateway, and then I'm
Yes.
going to put all the descriptions and
Oh, thank you. Yes.
of course.
Yeah, so it's phoenixgateway.com.au. So it's the best is you can find me through my website, and
Yes.
through my website you'll find out about any tours that I am taking. You'll find out about my elixirs. If I haven't had any courses up for a while, but I'll be re-looking at them at some point.
You are so time
Or
ahead.
you can, pardon?
You are so time ahead. I don't know when you created this, but whenever you created this, it's like incredible. This geometry card and an elixir, everything, all the information here. You are so time ahead. You must create it.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing just to say, is that I feel that the cards and the elixirs, especially the elixirs, are only starting to come into themselves now. And I feel it's because people are looking for alternatives that can assist in their healing process. And as you're aware, my cards have been created as a healing card deck. So you can work with them on the body. You can create you can put them on an altar. You can grid with them. You can make your own water frequency with them. And, from there, you've got the elixirs, and I actually just put up a post this morning on Instagram. I mainly use my Instagram, to be honest. I don't really use Frank's book as
I will
much.
put that. I will put your Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
Also.
But, showing my granddaughter, like she says to me, Nanny, because she hasn't been very well. You don't have to be sick to use them, but she herself hasn't been very well. She's like, can I choose one? And I've said, okay, you choose 3. And I'm just teaching her, because it's our children these young children now that we need to nurture and harness, for our future, because they're the ones that are going to really, really be working even more so with this energy, so it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Wow, this was so amazing to connect with you, Emily. Thank you so much for your time and being here. So
Thank you, Sky.
oh, thank you. And all the description below. And
Yeah.
I would love you to come back here. And if I don't see you and talk to you before, have a wonderful time in Egypt. And
Okay, thank you so much, Sai.
thank you very much. Namaste, everybody. Thank you.
Namaste.